Hey, my people, how are you guys today? Apparently, I have a lot to say this week. Um, Today, I woke up because I've been trying to figure out what is the African response to what is happening to African Americans in America. I wasn't seeing my African friends across the continent really posting. I saw a few, I said thank you, you know, I wasn't seeing the kind of uproar that I saw coming out of America around China and the abuse of Africans. And I really wanted to feel that reciprocation for what's happening to us in the streets of the USA. And I kept researching. I went to the AU. I saw the very, what I believe to be weak response from the African Union. This is not simply a time to just say that we think this is bad, that we think that you shouldn't be doing these things to African American people. They've been doing this for 500 years. We all know that they shouldn't be doing this, right? This is a time where we have all of the conversation going on between the diaspora and Africa for Africa to stand up. Stand up. Because we've stood up for you. And I want to see more than just people in the streets. And I asked, send me the evidence that people are standing up. I see the protests in South Africa. I saw some protests that are supposed to be going on in Ghana. I saw these things, and I'm not discrediting protest. But protest is not what we need. In Africa, you are in position. I know there's conflict on the ground there. I know you guys are still getting it together amongst your own people, but we're in crisis and we need you. And literally, I'm going to start with this first part. I'm going to break this down into 3 steps. Because of my friend Solomon in Gambia, I'm not going to start this from a point of money. I'm going to start this from a point of brotherhood and sisterhood. That at some point, we have to understand that Blackness is a political identity that we all have to identify. At some point, we have to put aside these tribal differences. We have them as the diaspora. You have them on Africa. We have these tribal differences. We can work those out, but right now, we need help. We need to be able to give people help right now. We don't have time to talk about the 500 years of things that we got going on. We got a lot of baggage to work out, guys. And we can do that while we're all safe in the same place. Number 1. Number 2 is that we need government. The marches are good. I get it. We need government. We need those same African nations that are calling on us to bring our dollars to say, here's some land, here's some passports, here's some citizenships. That's the expectation. When I see the Ghanaian president go and not address this publicly at his last speech, to not have a word for us after the year of the return, after the amount of resources that African Americans brought to the table, it's not right. I'm not going to say it's right. I'm not going to say it's okay. It's more than your citizens that we need to stand up. We need governments on the continent to stand up and offer this. We should not have to come to you for it. You should be calling on African American people to really come home. This has to be more than rhetoric. And third, because I realized in my calling out of Africa, unfortunately, because of how much divide we have between Africans and African American people and the whole diaspora, all of us, we got problems that we got to work out. And they're not even rooted, they're not our own making. I get it. We got lots of stuff to work out. And in my doing so, it gave African American people a vehicle to talk about how Africa's not this and not that. Let me tell you something. Africa is the place to be. And it's such a weird place for me to be in. It's like a duality in an intersection that's very, very strange, because I have to be able to call out the continent and say, we need you, and we need you to stand up in real ways, and we need land, and we need these things, and you're being silent, and that is not okay. But it isn't an excuse for African Americans to chime in and then with no knowledge of what's honestly going on the continent, the kind of development that there is, the lack of knowledge is of no fault of our own, but it is your responsibility. Your responsibility to get right with where you are. So I can't let you come to the table saying what Africa isn't when you don't know it. When you don't know the development that Africa's leading in technology, that it's leading in digital economies. And we deserve to be a part of that. So you got to educate yourself on what's actually happening on the continent, and you got to get past the rhetoric. You got to get past some of these we have to put this stuff down. I'm not saying we don't got stuff to work out. We got 500 years of stuff to work out. But we need to do that when African American people are safe and not being killed like dogs in the street. Get us to safety. Go to safety. Get settled in Africa. Allow us to be settled in Africa. We need each other right now. We need each other.